Aroused your fear like no movie before it. Then, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, 2 continued the legend. Now, for the first time, the terror of Jaws will not stop at the edge of the screen. The all-new Jaws 3D, the third dimension, is terror, rated PG. Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Filthy, slimy
I've read all your books, Mr. Neal. The book deals with a murder committed with an old-fashioned open razor, right? This girl, too, was killed with a razor, and your book's pages stuffed into her mouth.
Can I ask you something? Jesus.
all the time. Spy, damn little spy.
Spy. If you tune in next week on the Drive-In Asylum double feature, Mike Justice will be co-hosting, and we were going to be watching Tenebra and, or do you say it Tenebrae?
Tenebrae.
Tenebrae and Jaws 3D. And isn't it about time we watched Jaws 3D again, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Very excited. And there's a lot of discussion of what our lead actor would like in this. Eddie Van Halen with Klaus Kinski had a kid. Wax Melt Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson mid-werewolf transformation. There's a lot there.
Sam, during the viewing, you compared him to E.T.
Yeah, he looks very E.T. grown up is what I said. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a little bit Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah.
More like his affect. You know,
If you ordered Jeff
Yeah.
Goldblum from Wish, that's what you would get. You would get
Aw.
Lazar Rockwood. I do love the Richard Ramirez is another good one. Thank you.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
You
That's
should
a
have been
good
like
call.
That
the
is a good
pentagram.
one.
I really like the end of it because how many men? I all along you're kind of presented with this idea that they had this star-crossed romance the whole time. You know, he was in jail and he ruined her life, and they really set it up for you. And then there might be several guys that she's done. You know, we know at least 2 or 3 at this point. You know that she's been through this same journey with, which is pretty interesting. I like that twist.
I like it too. It's pretty unexpected because
Yeah.
she seems as unsuspecting as Boris is during the whole ordeal.
Movie puts her sympathy, makes you sympathetic to her numerous times, especially at the end when she's trying to get him to leave.
Yeah, it seemed like she really did want to get him to leave, or maybe that
Yeah.
was just part of the act as well. But it seemed like she genuinely felt something there when they reconnected, and she was like, "Oh well." But then again, the guy says to her at the end, "You don't have to make love to all of them."
Exactly.
So that's her MO.
Yeah, and she could have been an actress. He brings that up too. So is she this good every time with every guy? So
Let's
Also-
talk about that exhilarating tape measure.
what I'm
sequence.
amazed by
Mm,
Nikita's school system has to be incredible because her knowledge of mythology was like super deep mythology. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was.
Like there was a lot in that, and that same idea there shows up in a couple of years later in the third Indiana Jones movie, where he has to kind of spell the name of God and jump across those as he goes through the traps near the end of the movie. So I don't think they saw this movie. I think probably they both stole it from something else, but I would like to think they stole it from this movie.
Aw, and Nora clearly did not enjoy the film.
Oh, Nora. No, we love it when she says this kind of stuff.
I get it. I get it.
We did something really transgressive, and Nora called us out on it.
Yeah.
I like this movie. I think it's really very
Mandy
engaging.
enjoyed it more than the church, so there you go.
Oh wow.
You
Yeah,
guys can
see?
fight that out in the chat.
We welcome
All-
all perspectives here.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that everybody has big feelings about it. So that's what I like. Rather than people going, that was just okay. I'd rather people either love it or hate it.
No, this movie failed to convince somebody that shot on video is worth watching.
Tracy,
Sorry to hear that.
just give
Tracy,
a
I
couple
will
a
give you-
chance.
A list of a couple other ones to try that you might like better.
Yeah.
There's quite a wide variety out there.
Listen, any of the ones that Sam and I are doing commentaries on,
Yeah, try those ones.
please.
Yeah, we could use the sales. It was like the most boring D&D adventure. Come on. It's not that bad. There's a lot of D&D in it, though, so there's that.
What was D&D about it?
Just so much of being a dungeon master is, which is different than the, you wouldn't pass me out a flyer for your leather show as being a dungeon master. But as being a dungeon master is setting up the traps and building out traps to kill off your players or hurt your players.
This reminds me, there's a really great British kids game show from the 80s called Nightmare, spelled KNIGHTMARE. And it's basically a D&D game show for kids in virtual environments. So yeah, highly recommend looking it up. I think all of the episodes are on YouTube. It's another slow burner, like Beyond the Seventh Door, but fun to watch. Yeah, I feel like escape room stories share a lot of DNA with game shows.
Mm-hmm.
Another great one, The Crystal Maze, that's had a few different incarnations, a British game show. I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally hosted. I'm blanking on the actor's name, from Rocky Horror and the sequel.
Richard O'Brien.
Yes, he hosted it.
Mm.
Um,
Oh wow.
it's pretty great, actually. Although they do kind of recycle a lot of the same games from episode to episode. But it's like this massive compound full of games. And there are 4 different sections of it, each with a different theme. Like one has a jungle theme, one has a futuristic space theme, and games to match. And the last challenge is going inside of a crystal dome. It's like one of those telephone booths that blows a lot of air with fake money, except this is a crystal dome that's much bigger with gold tokens and silver tokens, and depending on what you collect, you could win a prize.
I mean, I'm just picturing Richard O'Brien. I can't get past that image of him as a game show host.
Yeah.
He's pretty great. He's a little bit mean toward the contestants at times, saying really sarcastic things if they perform poorly at the games. Yeah.
Yeah, British game shows tend to lean that way versus American ones. They want everybody to feel like, there's a chance they could win.
We did Shock Treatment on this show.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Shock Treatment, John? Have you seen it?
I actually haven't seen Shock Treatment, believe it or not.
It's pretty.
But I've heard really great things.
Oh, I loved it. Because I think that was like, I'd seen it before, but I just really never paid much attention to it. I think I rented it on VHS and only half watched it. But I really was into it. I was like, I like this just as much as I like Rocky Horror Picture Show. I think it's really good.
I think especially post reality TV,
Yes,
it says so much more now.
Yeah, like now it makes total sense, and it's weird. I mean, like the whole look of the movie is really weird.
Because there's so much of it was all shot on that soundstage versus having any outside stuff, and shot in England instead of Texas. Yeah,
I do like the songs.
There's a very spirited debate about this movie. This makes me happy. Man, just wait till I make you guys watch the Mummy theme park. You think you saw something bad here, you're going to be like, Jesus Christ.
That is looming over my head like a ton of bricks. I'm like,
I cannot wait. Was this shot in a fucking closet? Yes, it was. It's great.
Oh, somebody likes this goofy movie. Thank you, Tim. It is a goofy movie, and I like it too.
Yeah. It's better than Damnation Alley. I'll say it. It's way better than Damnation.
Face is falling here. There we go. I was turning into like only my eyes. Well, it is the third segment.
Yeah.
I know. I'm losing steam as well, but Vince, I agree. The 80s synthwave of it all is that alone is worth the price of admission, if you ask me.
The music's great. Yeah, I love the theme song of this movie.
Dare I say it was a little Carpenter-esque.
That's probably why I liked it.
Yeah, kind of in the sci-fi and thriller kind of Carpenter score realm.
Yeah.
I'm just going for a hot take here.
There's a lot of them tonight. People are real into it, so that's good. And it's totally cool. If you hate this movie, you don't like it, you love it. That's what it's about. Like, you don't really know whether or not you like a movie or a genre of films until you experience them. So I'm glad that people are at least giving them a shot.
This film really got me thinking, honestly, about the characters, especially, the lead actress. Well, as if there was any other actress in the movie. The only actress in the movie. I mean, her character was really sort of, what was it? Wendy. I really don't understand her motivation, even after seeing the film and with the twist at the ending. I expected that to be a little more, I expected to come away from this with an understanding of why she was doing this, but I didn't. I still don't understand what her motivation was, other than this guy was paying her to do it,
Mhm.
but also that this relationship that she had with him, how exactly were they making this happen? Because he contacted her at the beginning of the movie. She's like, why do you keep calling me? And he's like, I just want you to do this one thing. And so, like, how did that work? I don't get it. Did he just fall into their lap?
I think she's constantly dating thieves and horrible people to set them up for when they get out of jail, like 3 years later. So she has a constant rotating door of people. The scheduling, there has to be a whole department in this castle that schedules these things. Like, oh, you better call this guy, or hey, this guy's going to be calling you. Here's your notes on him. That's what I think. I think it's a big, and I think the rich guy just loves the drama of it, and
Sure.
Rich people are weird.
He's like a low rent Mason Verger from
Yeah.
the Hannibal Lecter story.
Yeah, exactly.
He's rich, he's handicapped, and he's going to make all these people around him do weird things. Well,
He's like, my dick doesn't work anymore. I'm in a wheelchair. This is how I get my thrills. That's kind of what his whole thing is.
And I like that we never see his face. It's very supervillain-y.
Yeah.
Like where his steel claw petting
Dr. Claw.
I know, like petting a cat of evil. Yeah, I might be naive, but I think that for Wendy, there is, I don't know, something complex happening under the surface where she does care about these people and does want them to win the game and escape with their life. But that could be naive of me to think.
Yeah, I was thinking if somebody does escape the game and makes the moral choice to leave the money behind, is that the right person for her? And then she'll actually leave with them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And instead, like, her consolation prize is the 20 grand for leaving someone to their death.
Yeah, maybe that's the motivation that Bill was looking for her character.
That makes sense.
Eventually want one of these men to win.
Yeah.
So
that's
that
her.
Be with them.
That's her hook. Like for being in this is because that may even be the terms of this guy.
Yeah.
Like if she can get somebody to leave with her, then he'll let her go too.
And it's like, I think that's why she's so upset is like, he said we both gave him the opportunity to leave. And she really thinks she was trying.
Yeah. She never stopped. She never stopped trying to get him to stop and not go back.
Yeah.
She was like that. She was the character in Taxi by Harry Chapin, the one that wanted to be an actress.
Yeah.
And got into his taxi. That was Wendy. She took off to find the footlights. I took off for the sky.
And it doesn't seem like she was trying to apply reverse psychology or to manipulate him into going back.
Mm-mm.
It seemed she really wanted him to make the right decision and not die. And what's wild, too, is that if he had just left one bundle in the suitcase, he might have escaped with all of the rest of the money.
Yeah.
Which is basically the same. So, greedy.
I thought it was going to be like in the Goonies. If they tried to, well, obviously it was ready to explode, but it was like One-Eye Willie's stash that they're not allowed to take. He's like, take everything else. This is Willie's.
That's the lesson. There's moral lessons because we talked about the writer of this book wrote like faith-based. The director of this movie wrote several books about like faith-based secret agent stuff. So yes, don't be greedy. Stay in school, kids. Learn about mythology, and so that if you're ever confronted by a puzzle where you have to step on things. But also, like, her life's on the line in a lot of this too. Like, she could have been. Well, was it on the line? Because one of the things we said, if she just stayed on that inflatable thing, she would just float out eventually. Like, is the idea that nobody suspects her by putting her life on the line?
Yeah, well, like for the floor puzzle with kind of looking for the word Juno. I mean, they would have died in just a moment if she had not suddenly come up with the correct answer to the puzzle.
Yeah. So that's kind of her, like, she's the failsafe for a lot of these things, especially if she's in the room with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could have just been fibbing about her arms and legs getting so cold they were gonna stop working.
Oh, but she got that great massage from him. I mean, that's what the ladies want, was our Rockwood rubbing them
Oh,
up.
and how about like when they start making love and it dissolves to the corpse's face so that you see he's watching? What was that all about?
That, and we realized that he does it more than once. Like when he's climbing down from stuff or about to make love, he just does weird like
I know,
tongue things
it's
with his
true.
mouth. It is like,
True.
what are you doing?
It's like a prequel for Necromantic.
Yeah. He also had, I like that he brought electrical tape on his, we kept calling it the Schneider tool bag from One Day at a Time. Like he had like all the tools on his tool belt, and then he just had tape hanging off it.
Yeah.
He
One
brought,
thing
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if I have criticism to give to this film, it is that it is much, much longer than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Every scene in the film is much longer than it needs to be. And I give it a pass because they were trying to pad it and make a feature-length film. But I get how that could be extraordinarily annoying.
This would be a great
people.
episode of a TV anthology. You could do this.
a half-hour episode.
Yeah.
With that
Monsters.
great twist at the end.
It'd be a great Monsters episode.
Yeah.
Or a segment in House of the Dead.
Yeah. But it would have less padding and more like get to the idea of things a little faster. But it's fine.
I like
And I was
stuff like
also-
this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just reminded that I don't know why I didn't think to mention it sooner, but Terror Eyes, the shot on video film that I'll be showing at Facets this October. It's an anthology film with 3 segments, and the third and final segment is an escape room story, much like the one that we just watched.
Ooh.
And with it's even more colorful and like has a whimsy to it. This is kind of more of a subterranean industrial kind of escape room, but the other one is more colorful with like checkerboards and different colors of walls. It's pretty fun.
Awesome.
This movie's
That'd be
look
fun.
to it, it had a very cardboard look to it.
Yeah.
I mean that in an affectionate way.
I know that you love the exteriors too. We may see the exteriors on the show again in the future.
Tell the world.
Nice.
Yeah, it's got sort of a cardboard sort of design to it, which I love. And that movie I was telling you guys about earlier, Laboratory, has that same look. It's got that like
Nice.
ultra cardboard, phony environment sort of look to it. So maybe you'll really dig it if you liked this one.
I'm excited to check it out. I mean, it's as soon as you described it, it shot to the top of the list of films I want to watch. It really did.
Laboratory. That was like a Saturday afternoon movie. I watched it a couple of times. There's another
Nice.
really obscure movie that you guys need to seek out. It's called Foes. I would love to do it on the show, but I don't think it's streaming anywhere.
What is it again?
It's called Foes, Foes.
Is that the one Garage House put out?
Yes. Harry Guerro's Garage House Pictures put it out on Blu-ray, and it's just, I mean, the idea that there's a Blu-ray for this movie out there is just, it would blow your mind, because it never got released theatrically, and it was only sold to syndicated TV. But it was this super low-budget UFO movie, and the way they did it was just really insanely inventive for $50. It's about alien
Nice.
abductions. So Foes and Laboratory are my 2 must-see film recommendations for everybody tonight.
Love
Go
it.
seek it out.
Bill, you want to see what came in the mail this week?
Yes, I'm dying.
All right. My Vinegar Syndrome stuff came in. That's what's
Ooh.
exciting to me. We
Oh,
got
did you buy some stuff in their recent
in
sale?
the sale. I got the Unmasking the Idol set. I love the way this slip works and it's numbered. But
Ooh.
Ooh.
really excited about that. Really nice cover on that. Summer of '84, which I really like.
Oh, that's a fun film.
UHD of it. And how could I pass up from Jess Franco? Two Undercover Angels doubled up with Kiss Me Monster.
Kiss Me Monster. I really want to see that one. I've never seen it.
It's really good. And by good, I mean Jess Franco good. Devil's Story, which shocked we haven't shown this on the show. If you liked the last movie we just watched, you're probably gonna like this too. It's got a mummy in it. It's got zombies in it. It's got like so much stuff in it. This just came in from 88 Films. This is Taxi Hunter. And this is from August Underground, the movie. Speaking of shot on video.
Nice.
That came out. And finally, so excited to show these. Because these are ones that Bill and I were involved with. This one is, speaking of shot on video, The Abomination, which is probably my favorite shot on video movie. Well, it's Super 8.
Super 8, yeah. It was not video.
Yeah. But from there, but this is super excited about this. This is from Visual Vengeance, and this set is awesome because you get, let me open it up here. You get the cool stickers, and each one has a totally different sticker set. There's an SOV sticker, which is pretty rad, and they can come on and off there. And then there is a comic book of the movie, and a two-sided poster. And Blu-ray, and it has about, I think, 8 hours of extras on it. 3 different commentary tracks, interviews with everybody involved, like tons of stuff. This comes out August 24th. You can get it from MVD, or I think Visual Vengeance has it as well. Diabolic DVD, obviously. That's a great place to buy stuff. And finally, this is one that Bill and I did commentary for, Replicator, which I'm super excited about. 2 different sets of art. The art really lives up to the movie.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. And this also comes with a poster, a different set of stickers, a little book, and you get special 3D glasses, X-ray specs, I mean, you can see replicators if they show up in your life. So, pretty rad. So, and and there's a Rift Tracks version. I think no, that's the next one coming out. Lycan County has a Rift Tracks version plus us. This one just has us and the director, 2 different commentary tracks. You can hear us telling a lot of stories and facts about this movie. And this scene kind of sort of happens in the movie, but
maybe not the way it's depicted there.
Yeah, but really nice packaging, and super excited for both those. And that came in the mail yesterday. I was so excited because we did that, a long time ago. Really happy that it's coming out. And
the Replicator thing, they look like the Slee Stack from Land of the Lost.
Yeah.
I love the original Land of the Lost.
Me too.
Like there's a handful of episodes that are legitimately well-written sci-fi television, and the rest is mind-numbingly boring.
The other 2 things I was going to bring up, Bill, is this week TerrorVision is putting out Joe Zasso, who's been on the show before and guest hosted, a box set of 4 of his movies when he was a teenager, including Screen Book 1 and 2, which are literally Creepshow made by a 12-year-old kid on his parents' camcorder.
Wow.
It's pretty awesome. And the second one, Screen Book 2, is maybe even a little better. I'm really excited about that. And then another person that's been on the show, Ben Deedles from Neon Brainiacs, he has been nominated for Best Actor in a feature film at Genre Blast Film Fest for the movie Gorilla Dogs, which I just got to review and haven't watched yet. I wish I had known Ben was in it, because Ben will just randomly show up in movies and I'm not ready for him. He's in the Amityville Christmas movie too. And like I was like, what? Ben's in this? And I texted him right away. He goes, I should have told you I was in that. I'm like, no, it's even better that I didn't know that he was that you were in this, and
a surprise,
knowing that I
wonderful.
watch every Amityville movie.
I didn't know there was an Amityville Christmas movie.
Oh yeah, somebody in the chat, I can't remember who sent it to me, was super excited that they bought a copy at Flashback of Amityville Vibrator because I told them about it, and I was like, oh, you shouldn't have bought that. Like, why would you do that? And they're like, oh, it's great. I really like it. I'm like, cool. I guess me talking about it made a sales. Congrats. Oh yeah, there's Ben.
There we go.
Super excited. I really like the Once and Future Smash, by the way, the second movie that is nominated by 2 people there. And Pound Cake was really great, too. There's some really good movies at Genre Blast this year. Pound Cake's a Brazilian in the jungle metal band throwing up everywhere kind of movie. It's one of the grossest movies. Roger talked about it last week, too. He saw it. It's got a ton of gross out scenes in it. I really dug it. Oh, thanks. That was Matt. Thanks. I couldn't remember who it was because I've been drinking. So thank you, man.
It is the third segment.
Yeah. This is the time in the third segment where I've moved away from hard liquor and into coconut water to hydrate myself so that I don't wake up with acid reflux because I'm old. That's what happens. You got to time it out just right. Bill, the next 2 Visual Vengeance ones that come out are in September, and Lichen Colony is one of the 2. So, and it comes with an air freshener, so your house doesn't smell like werewolves, which is a great purchase.
A friend of mine has been telling me for about a year now that I need to watch Lichen Colony and that it's a lot of fun.
It has a CGI tattoo, which I've never, and I say CGI in a very air quotes around it kind of way. Yeah, boy, if you guys didn't like Beyond the Seventh Door, you hate Lichen Colony. It's perhaps even lower of a budget with werewolf transformation scenes. It's pretty great.
It's ambitious, and a CGI tattoo is the least of what you'll be shocked at seeing in Lichen Colony.
Yeah, it's got some crazy stuff. Yeah. Vince said Rolaids. Vince, I am on 2 different beta blockers and something else for my acid reflux. It's like really bad. So yeah, then I take all sorts of different. I forgot to take it this morning and worked out and didn't take my other meds. This is what happens. Becca's like, make sure to take your meds. I'm like, of course I will. No, of course I did. So anywho, this week on the site, I just finished all the movies from around the world, and then starting tomorrow, next 2 days is all Coffin Joe, which I'm super excited. Yeah, my favorite. And then Arturo Passeri, who made the Mummy theme park that I talked about, and Plankton. He's done 5 movies, and his website now is he makes automatons and human machines. His website is as crazy as his movies. And then Andy Milligan for the rest of the week after that. So super high quality.
Andy Milligan.
Yeah, super high quality all week. But yeah, I actually found there's a Coffin Joe movie made in the U.S. A short. It's about him doing online dating to try to find the perfect woman. I'm really obsessed by the fact that the Coffin Joe movies are literally about him trying to find a woman to knock up, and his dating techniques leave a lot to be desired. In the second movie, he gathers 6 women and makes out with one while throwing snakes at the other 5 and see who's shocked by this and who should be killed. Doesn't really seem like that's a good dating technique, but whatever.
Here's our Super Horrorama upcoming at Facets in
I'm so excited about this show, guys. This looks so awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it too. It almost didn't happen, but Barry Kaufman of House of Monsters was able to kind of sponsor the event in order to help it happen this year. Long story short, Facets is kind of focusing most of our efforts, our internal efforts, on our 40th annual Chicago International Children's Film Festival, just since it's the 40th anniversary year. And we just want to clear a runway so that can take off as best it can. And so this event, Super Horrorama, was not going to happen until Barry helped it happen. So huge shout out to Barry. And I'm so excited about the Witch triple feature that he programmed and the other stuff we're showing that weekend. I didn't mention before, there's going to be a pop-up market, a horror pop-up market on Saturday and Sunday. We already have about 20 vendors confirmed. It's going to be huge.
Wow.
Yeah, super duper excited. And all of the vendors are local artists or zine makers or independent retailers.
Oh, wow. I love the all old, all shock, some color thing on the top right. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I just noticed that it says all old.
Yeah.
And at some point, we're going to have a poster for the event that we may sell at the event or just kind of pass out for free at the event by Mitch O'Connell. I don't know if you're familiar with the artist
Yeah.
Mitch O'Connell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dream that Mitch O'Connell is doing anything for an event that I'm involved with in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, I've been a fan of his work for forever. He does the posters for the Massacre and the Sci-Fi Spectacular, 2 24-hour marathons here in Chicago. Really love his work.
Right on. And I can't wait to do those intros for
Yes.
the 3 don'ts to do.
Oh.
And then also, I think I can say it here, that Facets is in December doing a double feature of 2 holiday classics, the original Black Christmas and Curtains.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
And Curtains not being a Christmas movie, but very wintry in its atmosphere. And Lynn Griffin is flying from Toronto to Chicago
Oh.
for an in-person Q&A because she plays, as we talked about earlier in this live stream, the first victim in Black Christmas and one of the killers in Curtains. And I'm super excited to talk with her about that. She is such a hoot. She is such a delight. If anybody isn't following her on Facebook, please do, because she's the goofy and just full of heart grandma that we all wish we had. So
She's great. I loved talking to her. She's such a sweet person.
yeah, you interviewed her for Drive-In Asylum, right?
That's right. Yeah. And she told me all sorts of dish about making curtains with Samantha Egger, and she was just really fun to talk to.
Nice.
Like, I would be thrilled to meet her in person. Maybe that's the one I'll try and make it to.
And we've already secured a rocking chair to have in the lobby for this event. And I'm sure Lynn is going to sit on it with a plastic bag over her head because she has a morbid sense of humor like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does that. She likes to do it at conventions, and she also likes to put on. She wanted a hag mask for the curtains, but I don't think she had one. She's like, I just want to scare people. I like to walk up behind people, and when they turn around, they see me with the plastic bag on my head. She loves it.
She's a wonderful human. Yeah, it's gonna be a blast. And another little piece of news, a big piece of news actually. I found out a few weeks ago that the series that I'm programming at Leather Archives and Museum here in Chicago is extending for another year in 2024. And we haven't yet decided how many screenings it's going to be, but it will be monthly again, and it will be March through December, maybe even January through December.
Oh, wow.
And
Right on.
so 10 more films, and one of them is a horror film that might have a very special guest that I need to keep under wraps for now, but it would be in October of 2024, and it's looking like it's going to happen.
Oh, wow.
Hey, that sounds really exciting. Now I'm dying to know who the secret guest is.
I'm Sam and Bill. I'm willing to tell you both in a private chat, but you can't tell anybody.
Okay.
Okay.
I promise.
Yeah, it's going to be wild if it happens. Yeah, and it's something I'm working on with Brian Kirst, who's another local film programmer who is co-presenting Hellraiser with me at Leather Archives this October. Yeah. And he has a connection to a certain celebrity who we think we can bring to Chicago. And yeah, stay tuned. Ooh, more ads.
Yeah.
Before we go, we can look at some more ads that I just pulled at random, just because they're fabulous.
I've never seen this one, Bill. This one's amazing.
Do you know what movie that is?
No.
The woman looks familiar. You'll never forget it.
Well, I don't think she's in the movie.
Oh.
These were
Oh.
just like random things that they had.
Please
This is
don't go in the bedroom.
yeah. It's a test title that Hallmark Releasing used for The House That Vanished.
Oh, that makes sense.
Nice.
What is Spirits of the Dead, Bill? Is that
Yeah.
Black
Is that
Magic
the-
Rights?
It's no Spirits of the Dead is that
Anthology?
omnibus. Yeah, it's the anthology.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, bizarre.
With I think I'm blanking, the 8.5 director, the Italian director, super
Fellini.
famous Fellini.
And
It's 1:18 a.m. here. I'm very tired.
Mhm.
Wow. That
So
is
this was The House That Vanished.
Nice.
wow.
Yeah, and they used the same ad campaign, of course. The makers of Don't Look in the Basement. I like how it had become the new last house on the left.
I like the not recommended for people over 30 too.
They used that on the other ads too.
Oh, did they? Oh, I just love it.
That's
I also
on all of them.
I also like that if the title "Please Don't Go in the Bedroom" isn't a long enough message in and of itself, it's extended in this ad. We can't stop you, but please don't go in the bedroom. Your scream is the last thing you'll remember.
Well, I don't know. Probably the last thing you would remember is that someone told you not to go in the bedroom and you went anyway. That would be the last thing I'd remember. Here's just another weird AKA.
Yeah.
Oh, is that a match? That's totally a match with a flame. For behind the title.
Oh yeah.
And it's
No,
like
it's
sparking a little
it's
bit.
a scythe. Isn't it a scythe?
Oh yeah, yeah. You're right
Oh.
because he has the
Oh, it is.
Neville Brand has
Yeah.
the sky in it. Yeah. I love that
Gotcha.
tagline. It's beds become bloodbaths. That's a great little thing.
Because it's a horror hotel, you know?
Yeah. Is this Starlight Swamp? Is it that movie?
Starlight Slaughter.
It's Slaughter, yeah.
Let's see, what were some of the other ones? Legend of the Bayou,
Yeah.
Death Trap. There's always one that I forget, an AKA, of course, for Eaten Alive. And Sam,
Bill,
this
did
was
you
just
pick this? Yeah, you picked
yeah,
this.
it was too good to pass up.
Oh. That's another one I want to show because I want people like, what?
That is
Why are we
really-
watching this movie?
That is a fantastic ad.
I would say the movie lives up to it. It's something really. There's something to this movie. I have it on a double bootleg with Abby, which I think they go really well together.
And what's great about it is like her pose and this
Mhm.
art is definitely saying I'm possessed and I'm an nymphomaniac at the same time.
Yeah, well, that lives up to the movie. Yeah, the movie lives up to that.
Don't they all go into this pose? Ruby did,
Yeah,
and Reagan
Oh,
did
I
it a
love
couple
Ruby.
times.
yeah.
I bet you've shown Ruby on this live stream before.
No.
No,
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Ruby is so great.
I
Yeah.
have
not
to.
done
I have to
any.
do this pose for aerobics sometimes, and it's
Do you
very
really?
hard to keep. Maybe I need to be possessed to properly, get
Are
the
you
right
going to do
form.
it? You should do it in those platform shoes she's wearing, Sam.
I really
I
should.
know.
Yeah, maybe it would be
Yeah.
easier. Some big chunky
Yeah.
kiss heels.
Yeah.
Aw.
Gene Simmons borrowed those from her.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh,
See
love this
separate ad for Showtimes.
I'll always love Scream Bloody Murder.
yeah,
And this obviously is the one about the kid with a hook for a hand,
yeah.
because there it is.
In case you're wondering which of the two it is in House of the Living Dead. It's a great ad. A lot of nice white space in
I don't think I've seen House of the Living Dead.
it. Mm-mm.
I don't think I've seen it either. Does either of you know anything about it?
I looked up the plot at one point just to see remind myself if I'd seen it, and I don't think I ever did. It's something living in the attic. I don't know. It's one of those like silent scream type things, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's also called Shadows Over Bridge Farm or Doctor Maniac.
Nice.
I have seen it because I remember because it's a co-production of Great Britain and South Africa. I
Okay,
thought
there we
that
go.
was weird to put in a movie. Yeah, and it all takes place in South Africa.
I'm not sure what movie I was thinking of,
It
but
has
look,
no This is my favorite write-up. It has this film contains very little gore and no zombies at all. Things that would normally be expected of a movie that says Living Dead in it.
yeah.
It was also called Kill Baby Kill on home video, Bill.
Oh, and Bill, you were just talking about House of the Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this, so I had to grab it for our final ad.
I've noticed that this one is in the catalog for theatrical bookings at the
Oh, wow.
American Genre Film Archive. I'm tempted. I really want to do an anthologies program, a double feature or a series at some point, just because anthologies are so fucking fun. Is there anything more fun than a horror anthology?
You know you're going to get something good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Guillermo del Toro once said he doesn't like horror anthologies because they're always as bad as their worst segment. I would say the opposite. They're always as great as their best segment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. That's definitely true with House of the Dead.
Yeah.
There's like one really great segment in it.
As is the case with so many anthologies. But, you know, there are plenty of anthologies that have multiple good segments. Even the rare one where it's great across the board.
I think it's hard with modern ones because there's so many that are on streaming now that are just short movies that were put together without any thematic quality to them. Do you know what I mean? To unite them. But
Yeah.
when like we're versus like you get kind of spoiled by the Amicus ones or
I
Creep
know.
Show where do you know what I mean? Where they have like a theme and a story that can and it's like, oh yeah, we're building to something. And that's especially like Asylum's my favorite one because I think it really builds to
Asylum
something.
is so good. Like
Yeah.
for me, it's hard to choose between Tales from the Crypt and Asylum.
Yep.
I mean, those two are so incredible.
Yeah, those are my two favorites. Tales from the Crypt is super dear to my heart. Like it's such a great movie.
And I mean, just with Amicus, it has that cohesive theme of adapting EC comic stories or Robert Bloch stories.
Mhm.
And I don't know, they're just more cohesive films than a lot of other anthologies.
Yeah, I like the what's the last one? The Monster Club, which is kind of sort of
That's a
Amicus.
cheesy one.
Yeah, but it has so many funny things in it that it's like
Yeah.
there's some even that one's pretty good. But yeah, I think outside of that, it's kind of like hit or miss. Though the one I really like is we talked Tales from the Dark Side. The movie actually is pretty good too,
Love Tales from the Dark Side, the movie.
and it's got a great connecting story with Debbie Harry getting mentioned again.
Monster Club's great. I
Mm-hmm.
love the Monster Club. That segment with the Ghoul Town is really creepy. I mean, it is very jokey, the other two stories. Although I think that one with the Shadmock I think it's the first one, the guy who whistles and like her face.
I like that they
burns
go
up.
through the family history of monsters, where they like describe like if this one has a baby with this one, you get this.
Exactly. It's like a complex genealogy.
Yeah.
The thing that is a little cringy about it for me is the Monster Club itself, and just the monsters look like they were designed by 300 different artists.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, I don't know if you've ever seen the Halloween Town movies on the Disney Channel, but it's very that in terms of prosthetic makeup. It's pretty bad. But
it also has a stripper that strips her clothes, her skin off, which is hilarious.
Which is like an animated sequence,
Yeah.
which is so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it kind of comes out of nowhere. You're like, wow, that's really wild.
She went all the way.
Yeah.
I know,
all
exactly.
the way.
Yeah.
And I saw Mike brought up too. Night Train to Terror is another favorite, even though I know it's 3 movies jammed into, a lot cut out of them, but I do love it.
And Trilogy of Terror is a total blast, and a lot of people haven't seen kind of the follow-up to it, Dead of Night. but the final sequence of Dead of Night is as amazing as the final
Yeah.
sequence of Trilogy of Terror.
Both of those movies, though, are kind of like that was their strongest segment, and that's the one everybody remembers. The other two are just kind of meh.
Yeah.
least
Karen
I-
Black makes
Oh,
it work, like makes it kind of work.
absolutely.
But you're right. Like the last segment about the Zuni fetish doll is far and away the best.
Yeah.
That's the one
There's
you're
a
going to remember
sequel
the next
too.
day.
They made one in the '80s for Showtime, a trilogy
And-
of Toku that has
And the
another.
sequel,
Mhm.
it remade the Bobby Seek segment from
Yeah.
Dead of Night.
Yeah, and it's not bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember watching that when it premiered because I rented Trilogy of Terror before that and was like, oh my God, a sequel? But it was, I don't know. At the time, I was a little let down.
And I like both Creep. Well, you can stop after Creepshow 2. Creepshow 3 is not that hot, but I actually like those movies a lot as well.
The Raft segment in Creepshow 2 is pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I first saw it, that's the only segment I liked. I saw Creepshow 2, like, I think I went twice theatrically. But I don't know. The Blob thing was awesome, but the other two. But now I love The Hitchhiker, of course, with Lois Childs and her
The
tour.
first time I saw it, I didn't like it either, and then I think with more watches and then getting older, like the first story, I know there's some silliness in it, but it means a lot more to me now.
Old Chief Woodenhead.
Yeah, I like it.
I want to know why Chief Woodenhead couldn't stop the thugs from killing George Kennedy and Dorothy Lamour.
Because he needs blood to be enacted.
It was the revenge that got him interested.
He only does revenge. He's like, that kind of
I
thing.
see.
Yeah.
He had a bad attitude.
Yeah. What about Meat Cleaver Massacre? But I'm just kidding. I couldn't believe they showed the trailer for that at the drive-in. I was so excited.
Meat Cleaver Massacre?
Yeah, the one
Oh my
with
God.
Christopher Lee thinking that he's doing an anthology intro. The really crazy one I found, Bill, when I was doing the CBS Late Movies one is, I can't remember what the name of it is, but it was literally a series that was going to be syndicated, an anthology, and each week you would get one story and it would be split across 5 days. It was like a test, and it only did one movie, and it's pretty cool. But I thought that was a cool idea for a concept where you would, get like a 2-hour movie over 5 days.
That is a neat concept.
Yeah. I think if it had come later, in 1980 really probably wasn't the right time for it. It feels like something that would have worked better. The other thing I'm really interested in is that when Tales from the Crypt was ending, HBO was trying a ton of other series that were similar to it, like Two-Fisted Tales and a few others, and none of them got picked up.
Perversions of Science.
Yeah. And there's the other one that has the SCTV guys working on it. Which one that is? Like, there's one that has Martin Short in it.
Oh, did you have a really fun HBO anthology movie? It wasn't an anthology series, but actually like an hour-and-a-half anthology movie from the same era, like early 90s. Cosmic Slop.
Oh, I've never seen that. Is it good?
So there are 3 segments. One of them is great. One of them, I don't even understand what they were trying to do with it. And the other one, it has a great script, but the performances give it completely the wrong tone so that it does not work in the end. But like if you kind of just look at the structure of the plot, it's like a really great Twilight Zone story. As is the segment that works in the film. But yeah, I recommend checking it out.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they were just trying. They're like, well, we know we're not going to do Tales from the Crypt, but what if we just did a show like it? They had already done The Hitchhiker too before, which was very similar.
I love The Hitchhiker.
Mm-hmm.
And there were even a couple of stories, like at least one story that carried over, like the Joe Pesci falling in love with the twins. That episode was originally done, I think, in season 1 of The Hitchhiker. And maybe a couple other similarities.
If you check out, I actually got the first 2 seasons of The Hitchhiker at the dollar store. For some reason they were there, and I'm like, wow, what a buy. So It
That
gave me
seems
fond
pretty
memories.
highbrow for the dollar store.
I know, right? What am I getting next? Red Shoe Diaries at the dollar store? That would make my whole day.
So after Tales from the Crypt, in the late 90s or early aughts, there was this horror anthology series that I really loved, called Night Visions, hosted by Henry Rollins. I don't know if
Oh,
you
I never
ever
seen
saw
that one.
this.
Oh
No.
no!
It's pretty damn good, and the guest stars are pretty incredible as well. Like Malcolm McDowell stars in an episode, um, and just a whole bunch of other people you'll recognize. Yeah, it's good, and some of them are kind of cookie cutter but very effective in what they do. And there are a couple of bad eggs in the bunch, as there are in all anthology TV shows. But yeah, definitely recommend checking it out. Oh, Vince likes Night Visions. I'm glad somebody else likes it.
There's a really great early 70s one too, Ghost Story / Full Circle, with Sebastian Cabot hosted it, and William Castle produced it. And I'd say more than half the stories are pretty good. I'm going through the last season of Night Gallery right now on the site. Man, the third season, there's some real rough ones in it, because at that point it was a half an hour instead of an hour. And
Yeah.
sometimes they try to jam 3 stories into a half an hour, and it just doesn't work.
I like the Ghost Story series. I thought it was mostly pretty good.
Yeah.
The other anthology that I love that nobody ever talks about is Dark Room.
I'm going to get
Oh,
into it with
yeah.
James Coburn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he's like a newscaster who's being replaced, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why am I talking to myself through the TV? Yeah.
Well, the one I always remember is the one about the old lady who turned into her cat when someone broke into her house and killed her. And there was another one about a girl who thought her neighbor was a vampire, and she set about like proving that he was a vampire, and she confronted him with anti-vampire charms, and they didn't work on him, and it turned out he was a werewolf.
That's an old EC Comics story. Like, that's where they
Yeah.
got it from. 'Cause there's a kid who gets adopted. It's the same general idea. Like, a kid gets adopted, and the vampires are fattening him up, so that they could kill him. And when they come to his room, he's a werewolf. So it's like one of those, like, kind of twists.
Yeah, that Tales from the Crypt episode, that was a good one. It had a lot of heart, because the butler was such a sweetheart and was really looking after that kid and didn't want any harm to befall him.
The story in the Tales from the Crypt movie that gets me the most is the Ray Don Chong one, where he promises not to tell where they met, and
That's
comes
Tales
back
from
and
the
kills-
Dark Side.
Tales from the Dark Side. I mean, yeah, that one it really gets me. I saw it when I was really young, and it really freaked me out.
Yeah, it's the Gargoyles one, right?
Yeah.
That was great. And there was a fun twist at the end, because it was definitely inspired by that Qui-Gon segment, but they added their own twist to it in a way that was really clever.
Yeah.
I thought that was scary. It had a very scary monster. At least the first time you saw it, it was kind of shocking.
But I saw it, like, probably I was like 12 when I saw it, and I was like ill prepared for what was, middle of the night, and I'm watching it like, whoa.
But like, some of the monsters were actually really adorable in that, though.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say anything more, or else it'll give away the twist. But
yeah.
But I was just going to say, I really like From a Whisper to a Scream, aka Offspring, which was mentioned by a couple of people in the chat. I know that Vincent Price did not like it, which hurts to hear, because I thought it was one of the better 80s anthology movies.
Mm-hmm.
I remember enjoying every single segment in that film too. And it might not have been on the level of the Amicus anthologies, but still thought it was pretty great.
Yeah. No one brought up Steve King's Cat's Eye?
Oh, Cat's Eye is so good.
I like Cat's Eye a lot.
Yeah.
I like the scene with that little thing finally appears to fight General, the troll or whatever it is.
The troll in the bedroom wall.
There's some really great tricks in that, where sometimes it's a puppet, sometimes it's they built a giant room around a life-size person. Like, there's so much stuff, and by combining it and how fast it moves, like, it works really well.
Agreed. And the ledge segment is a true
Oh.
nerve shredder.
Yeah.
Like
I
when
hate that one.
rewatching it, I know, like rewatching it, it still terrifies me, even though I know it's going to happen because it's that tense.
Yeah.
When I'm waiting for Mark to pick me up after work downtown, I always wait in this corner and I always look up and there's a ledge that goes
Oh.
around one of the upper floors, and I'm like, could I walk around that? And I just try to imagine doing it and I faint.
Ooh.
I would be so
Yeah.
dead. I might
And
as
I
well
know
just jump right out the window and spare everybody the
Oh,
suspense.
so imaginative, that segment, in terms of all of the things that can go wrong on a journey like that, on a ledge. It's crazy. Even the first segment in that is great. The Quitters Incorporated segment. I think that's what it's called.
It also has the great beginning with Cujo showing like all the little Stephen King
right.
things like show up in the beginning.
Forgot
Sorry,
about
Steve
that.
King. I said his name wrong.
Steve King.
Steve King.
You have to say it like you know him.
Yeah. Oh, you know, Steve King.
And I recently revisited Nightmares, who somebody mentioned in the chat. Lee mentioned it in the chat. And revisiting it, I definitely enjoyed more than the first time I saw it. It's not my favorite anthology. I think my favorite segment in it is probably the one with the arcade game. That's pretty great. I would love to see a 3D screening of that.
Oh yeah, the Bishop of Battle or something.
Yes.
Wasn't that it?
Yeah, I think it was the Bishop of Battle.
That was the one with the giant rat, wasn't it?
Nightmares, yeah.
Had the giant rat. Veronica Cartwright was in it.
Yes. Yeah, she played the mom in that segment. That segment got a little ridiculous when they were trying to pass off a normal-sized rat as a giant one through movie magic. But it just looked like a photo-enlarged regular-sized rat.
You weren't convinced, John McDevitt?
No. But like the opening segment, I can't remember her name, the star of the Sentinel.
Christina Rains.
Yes. Where she is going to the store to pick up cigarettes late at night because she's addicted to cigarettes. And there's a killer on the loose. There are a couple of moments in that make me jump out of my skin.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But it's also, there's a lot of cheesy moralizing and Nightmares at the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe it was one of those faith-based movies that Sam was talking about earlier.
You know what, though? There's times where I get hit with them and I'm like 3/4 of the way through. I'm like, oh, there's a message in this for me. Oh, okay. You don't
What's
see
the
it
message?
coming.
What's the message in Tenebrae?
Writers are horrible people. It is my favorite thing about Tenebrae. I'll probably say it again next week, but Argento had, been getting, perhaps rightly so or unrightly so much critical derision for how anti-woman and how violent his movies were. And he's like, I'm going to make a movie that's for women. More women get killed in this movie than any of his movies. It's more violent than almost any of his movies. It has, and then there's whole moments in it, like the scene with the two girls where the camera keeps shooting over the building. That crane shot, like every single person told him, like that totally breaks the movie. And he's like, I don't care. It's my movie.
And honestly, I've heard a lot of people say that crane shot with, the lesbian lovers in their house breaks the movie.
It does.
I was utterly riveted.
Me too.
The first time, the second time, the third time, I was fully on board for that incredibly long crane shot because it is stunning and it just, I don't know, utterly riveting. I love it.
I always think of it as I know Bird is considered, it's not the first Jawa, but for a lot of people it was their first experience. That and Deep Red are his opening salvos of here's what these movies should be, and everybody else ripped them off. and this is almost like him putting a coda onto it. This is like it's like the last word in the form to me. It works so well. I say that, and I've watched like hundreds more after it, but it's like that's why I love it so much, and especially like there's just so many pieces and parts to it that work for me.
I thought that crane shot was edited the first time I saw it. I didn't think it could possibly be all one take, because there are a couple times when the screen almost goes to black, and I was like, oh, well, he must have cut something in there, but apparently he didn't.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't.
Yeah, because I remember the apocryphal story about John Carpenter's Halloween is that the opening was one long continuous shot, but it wasn't, because Carpenter himself said he put a cut in there when he puts the mask on. So
right.
It's also
this
like
one is real.
There's also in Halloween, it's like 4 or 5 different cuts, 4 or 5 different takes of that. Because Dean Cundy said he was getting so tired from they would switch off the Steadicam because he said it was just so much work doing it. You know, and so he said there's a couple different takes of it, and there's some tricks for how it comes together. But yeah.
I'm thinking about Alfred Hitchcock's Rope and how occasionally the camera moves into somebody's back or into the lid of a trunk in order to create a hidden cut.
I like the ones where it's like on a corner and like you barely notice it, and then the corner. That's a CGI trick that they use in movies now when they do those, where it's like where it doesn't seem like you're stopping and going into it. So I always look for those too.
Yeah,
I love, and again, I'll say it again next week, but I also love the idea that Tenebrae is a science fiction movie. That it's in a he claimed that there was a nuclear war, and that's why everybody is so rude to each other, not so rude, but like that's why people are so far apart. He talks about it a bit in his book, also that he had seen that section that was built for the World's Fair and for the anniversary of fascism, and like how white and stark it looked. That's what I love about it, because like you're so used to every other Italian detective story like that is in the old parts of the city, or you know what I mean? It's a totally different part of Italy you never see in movies until that. And I guess the message is that artists aren't to be trusted, and art is deadly and violent, and I don't know. I also love that like it literally has 2 different two different killers. Like you think you figured it out, and it's like there's even more coming.
Yeah. And going back to the criticism Argento receives a lot for violence against women, I think it misses how complex Argento's films are. I mean, anyone can be and will be a victim in an Argento film, and anyone can be and will be the killer in an Argento film. There's a lot of range and variety there that I think, I don't know, hurts the arguments that his films are just terrible toward women. And I get it, because the violence is really graphic, and I can understand how that's upsetting for people. But I don't know. I'm thinking of American Horror Story as well, because similar criticism in terms of negative representation of queer people and other people in marginalized groups. But in American Horror Story, everyone is terrible. Like, it's just that there's no differentiation between people. Everyone is terrible.
Also,
that's true. It's depressing.
Tenebrae also has a trans character, even though it doesn't outright tell you, which is pretty amazing
character.
Yeah.
And then the lesbian characters that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, and it's never presented in like an exploitative way, or like, like, oh, we gotta put this in it. It's just very matter of fact.
Yeah, and she's just a woman who happens to be trans, who's cast in a role of a female character.
Yeah,
and they leave it at that.
Yeah, she's also in the 2 Hercules movies too.
Nice.
Sosie's Hercules movies. She's the goddess of technology. I can't remember what her name is, but she's in those. And again, it's never really mentioned. It's just she's the character in the movie, which is pretty rad.
There are actually 28 folks watching the show
right
now.
Gosh.
There's still 6 people on YouTube.
Wow.
The octopus is up. The lightning squid, as people
Yeah.
in the
I
chat
know.
like to call it. But I don't know. We had a conversation going here, so I've been letting it go on.
Yeah,
I like that we can talk about this stuff. I look forward to this every week.
me too.
And
I actually
thank you
literally in the
also-
middle of the week, work was kicking my ass, and I was like, well, a couple days I'll be able to talk to people. So just keep working.
And thank you both so much for having me on the show again. It's been so much fun. Just really enjoy chatting with you about weird shit and enjoying it together.
Yeah, thanks for being on. I love when you come on and bring out some movies that challenge folks today. So that's good.
All right. So next weekend, make sure you join us. We're going to have Mike Justice on the program to watch Tenebrae and Jaws 3D. I'm not sure what order we'll do them in, but I don't know.
Oh.
We'll figure it out then.
My clue
I mean-
about ET being in it is because at the end when Jaws blows up, there's an ET doll that comes flying out of him, and all his guts at the end. Spoiler: they blow up the shark at the end of it. I'm sure you realize that's going to happen, but yeah. And thanks everybody in chat for coming out tonight, staying late, all 28, 29 of you. It's amazing. And I
Yeah.
gotta get up and do housework. Fix a laundry room at 9 a.m., which is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna be so nice to everybody tomorrow.
Be kind.
Yeah, I will. I'll do my best.
All right. So we'll see you next weekend. John, thanks again for being on the program. We hope you come back again sometime. Right?
Sounds great.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.